Have you ever heard the tragic story of the Library of Alexandria? The one where a single, massive fire destroyed the greatest collection of knowledge in the ancient world, setting humanity back 1,000 years. It's a powerful image, a symbol of cultural loss. But what if I told you that story isn't entirely true? The real story is far more complex, and in many ways, even more tragic. It wasn't one single event, but a slow, agonizing death by 1,000 cuts that spanned centuries. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of myth and uncover the real reasons for the destruction of the legendary Library of Alexandria. First, let's set the stage. Founded in the 3rd century BCE by Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals. The library wasn't just a building with scrolls. It was a research institution, a university, a hub of intellectual life that attracted the greatest minds of the Hellenistic world. Scholars like Euclid, the father of geometry, and Eratosthenes, who calculated the circumference of the earth with stunning accuracy, worked within its walls. It was a place where knowledge wasn't just stored, but created. The collection was immense, estimated to hold hundreds of thousands of papyrus scrolls, covering everything from astronomy and mathematics to poetry and history. Every ship that docked in Alexandria was searched, and any books found were seized and copied, with the copies returned to the owners and the originals kept by the library. This was an institution obsessed with collecting all of human knowledge. So, what happened to it? The first major blow, and the one that often gets all the blame, came in 48 BCE with Julius Caesar. He was in Alexandria, embroiled in a civil war between Cleopatra and her brother. During a naval battle in the harbor, Caesar's forces set fire to the enemy ships. According to some ancient accounts, the flames spread and accidentally burned down warehouses near the docks where some of the library's scrolls were stored. This is the origin of the Great Fire myth. But it's crucial to understand this wasn't the main library building itself. While a significant number of scrolls were likely lost, perhaps 40,000 to 400,000, depending on the source, the institution survived. It was a devastating setback, but not a final knockout. The library continued to function, to collect, and to be a center of learning for centuries after Caesar's visit. Mark Antony even reportedly gifted Cleopatra 200,000 scrolls from the Library of Pergamum to help replenish the collection. The real decline was more like a slow, creeping disease than a sudden inferno. A big part of the problem was political instability and a lack of funding. The golden age of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which had so generously patronized the library, eventually gave way to internal strife and weaker rulers. In the 3rd century AD, a period of intense crisis rocked the Roman Empire. The Emperor Aurelian, while suppressing a revolt in Alexandria, destroyed the Bruchian quarter where the main library was located. This was a military action, not an attack on knowledge itself. But the result was the same. The main building was likely destroyed in this conflict, a casualty of civil war. The scholars were scattered, and the intellectual heart of the city was ripped out. Even after this, knowledge wasn't completely lost. A smaller daughter library existed at a temple called the Serapeum in another part of the city. This became the new, albeit smaller, center for scholarship. But now, a new force was rising that would prove even more destructive than armies. Religious intolerance. The Roman Empire was transitioning to Christianity, and the old pagan temples and institutions were seen as a threat. In 391 AD, the Roman Emperor Theodosius I issued a decree outlawing pagan practices. The Patriarch of Alexandria, a man named Theophilus, saw this as his chance. He led a mob of Christians to the Serapeum. They didn't just close it down, they utterly destroyed it. The temple was demolished, and any scrolls still housed there were likely destroyed or dispersed in the chaos. This event wasn't about destroying science in the name of religion, but about eradicating the symbols of a competing faith. The scrolls were collateral damage in a holy war. So you see, there was no single moment of destruction. It was a gradual erosion over nearly 700 years. It started with Caesar's accidental fire, was worsened by civil wars, an economic decline under the Romans, and was finally finished off by religious conflict. Each event chipped away at the great collection, scattering and destroying pieces of it until nothing was left. The final blow is often anachronistically blamed on the Arab conquest of Alexandria in 642 AD, with the famous story of the general Amr ibn al-As ordering the scrolls to be used as fuel for the city's. But modern historians almost universally agree that this story is a much later fabrication. By the time the Arabs arrived, there was likely no great library left to burn. So what was truly lost? It's almost impossible to comprehend. We lost countless works of Greek literature, including most of the plays by the great tragedians like Sophocles and Euripides. We have only a fraction of what they wrote. We lost vast amounts of history, including the definitive history of the Babylonian civilization, written by a priest named Berossus. We lost scientific treatises that might have contained astronomical observations, mathematical proofs, and engineering designs that we had to rediscover centuries later. Imagine having the complete works of Aristotle, the full records of the astronomers who knew the Earth revolved around the Sun 1,700 years before Copernicus, or the detailed medical texts that built upon the work of Hippocrates. The loss isn't just about the scrolls themselves, it's about the connections between ideas, the debates between scholars, and the chain of knowledge that was broken. The destruction of the library wasn't just a loss of books, it was the loss of a world of thought. The story of the Library of Alexandria serves as a powerful cautionary tale. It shows us how fragile knowledge can be, how easily it can be lost, not just to fire, but to war, neglect, and intolerance. It reminds us of the importance of preserving and sharing information, and of protecting the institutions that serve as the guardians of our collective memory. The myth of a single great fire is dramatic, but the truth of a long, slow decay is a far more important lesson for our own time. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what historical myth you'd like me to debunk next. Until then, stay curious.